Did the prices recently go up at your veterinary clinic and now you're paying 4 times as much? So is everybody else. Let's talk about it. Okay, I am at work at my baby music studio, but a woman reached out to me from a local Facebook group, and she asked me to look into something for her, and I'm going to try to do this quickly because I have to go pick up my kids from school. She asked me if I could try to look into the veterinary clinic that she had taken her dogs to for years. She said that they had recently started changing their prices and that the quality of care had gone down, but that everything online still said they were owned and operated by the same people. And she wanted me to try and help her understand what was changing. I knew right away what the problem probably was. And that is that these massive private equity firms are buying up veterinary clinics in the hundreds all across the United States. And they're consolidating all of the pricing through unified software and price fixing. And in doing so, they're collectively raising the prices across the board in entire regions. And you can't tell because if you go to multiple vets that all look like they're independently owned and operated, but they've been acquired under these consolidator funds, then it still looks like they're independent and all of their prices are the same. So you don't understand why it's now costing you $1,200 to spay your cat when just a year and a half ago that would have cost you $300, which is a massive difference. Now, I went and I did look into the vet that she approached, and I want to just kind of show you a little bit of what I found, and I want to help you understand how to avoid this and how to find out if your doctors, vets, dentist offices are still locally owned businesses or if they've been acquired by a consolidator, private equity, or hedge fund. Okay, I'm using my body here to block people's names, but this is where it all started, okay? With people saying that they were suddenly getting charged $1,200 to spay or neuter their pets when their last pet just 2 or 3 years ago was between $150 and $400. And when I tell you the comment sections did not disappoint, there were several posts that came thereafter that were saying mine was just quoted $1,100, mine was just quoted $1,200. I don't understand what's happening. Okay, so I started looking into all of the vets that people were claiming were quoting them $1,100, $1,200, and I was able to identify about 8 vets in our very small rural community that were all giving these unified prices. And I just want to take a quick stop right here. Sorry, I'm going to turn so you guys can not see my poster behind me. Okay, so I went first to this clinic where there were multiple people saying they had been quoted $1,100, but recently, like just a couple years ago, they were charging very reasonable prices and that the staff had been changing and that the quality of care had been changing. And so I went and I looked through this website. I looked through the About Us. I looked through their news. I looked through their team. I looked through everything all the way down to the baseline. And it still showed this was a local community-owned hospital. And if you look right here, in operation since 1988. And if you look at their mission statement, it says serving our community because we're part of the community. So that would lead anybody looking at this website to believe that this was a community-owned hospital, except it's not. What I actually ended up doing was calling the hospital and saying, are you community owned? Now, they can lie to me if they want to. One of the women on the phone said, I don't know what you mean. And I said, I only want to spend my money with local veterinary clinics. Are you community owned or are you owned by somebody outside of our community? And she hesitated and she says, I don't know if I can answer that. And she didn't know how to answer that. And I said, have you been acquired by anybody recently? And she said, yes, we were acquired by VetCor. Now, nowhere on this website does it say that they are a VetCor consolidated or acquired hospital. They have worked very hard to make people believe they are still community owned and operated. Now, here's a press release from last November from VetCor, which has been consolidating veterinary clinics under their umbrella for quite some time, acquiring People, Pets, and Vets, which is another one of those groups that was kind of a smaller group that had started acquiring brands. They had 150 brands, and they acquired them in November of last year. I believe that this location may have been part of that acquisition, but they had recently been acquired just before that. Now, this is from VetCor's website where they have 844 unique locations. And then if you look through their website, you can see that they have got a bunch of mission statements that are key to it, like take care of the pets, take care of the people, take care of this. They say 15,000 happy team members. But based on the turnover that people are saying is happening at these clinics, I doubt all of those team members are happy team members. And that's because whenever private equity gets involved in any industry, what's going to happen is they're going to demand more profitability with less support. And that means that those team members are not getting the level of support they were getting before this acquisition, and that they're probably being asked to work for less money, and they're being expected to produce more profit. And I am sorry, but we're talking about our animals, our family members, that are going to be the ones to bear the brunt of that. Now, if you look here, you can see that Vetcor, which was already a private equity funded acquirer and consolidator of veterinary brands, was acquired by Oak Hill Partners, which is a major private equity fund that also acquired Harvest Partners and 2 other brands, and Vetcor was a part of this acquisition. But that's not the only veterinary consolidator that Oak Hill Partners now owns. If you look here, they also own American Veterinary Group, and they own hundreds of locations out of Florida and Georgia and Louisiana and the entire southeastern United States. I went and I looked at some of their locations, and these locations have also worked very hard to convince people that they are still locally owned and operated, running information that shows they've been in their communities for years, run by people in their communities for years, and nowhere on these sites can you see that they have been acquired. If you look here, this is a map of the Vetcor acquired locations just in my immediate area, in my immediate sphere of access. And why is this important? Well, because if you go to a vet, obviously you want immediate care for your pet. You're under the gun. You want to make sure your pet is healthy. You're going to ask for the price. But if that price is a price you can't bear, you might go seek a second opinion. And if that second opinion is also owned by Vetcor or American Veterinary Group or another consolidator that's working through the same software, that quote's going to be the same. Even if that quote is 4 to 6 times as much as it would have been 2 years ago when it was locally owned and operated. So what does it mean? Well, like so many things in America and really in the world, right now, these giant billionaire-backed funds have been trying to find ways to turn more money and more money out for their investors. And the reality is that what they've started to realize is that the most trusted institutions in America are small businesses. Small businesses have a trust ratio of between 60 and 80%, whereas megacorp-owned businesses have a trust ratio of less than 15%. And so they have realized that the best way for them to realize their investments and make more money is to convince us that we are still shopping with a small business. And by price fixing and making sure that no matter where we go for a quote, we're getting charged a price that is excessive and high and unsustainable, we aren't going to have a choice, and we're going to pay that amount because we love our pets, and our pets are family to us. Now, I do want to explain something to you. I want to explain why there is such a high percentage of acquisition in the veterinary space, the urgent care center space, the pediatric space, the dentistry space. And that is because private equity firms actually got together at a summit about 3 years ago at the start of the pandemic when they assumed we were going to go into this massive recession. And they talked about what was going to be the types of industries they should be investing in where there's less risk during a recession so that their investors could ride out the storm without suffering losses. And it was actually determined at the summit that they should be investing in products and services that we are emotionally invested in. Because no matter how much they raise the price, we are likely to pay it if it's something we care about. And that is why they started investing in veterinary clinics and doctors' offices and senior living facilities and dentistry. They started investing in our children and our pets and our parents because they know no matter what they charge, we will pay the bill. Now, what can you do? There are still lots of local small businesses that have not yet been acquired, but they are being pressured every day to either give it up and take the money and move into their retirement, or to price match, because why wouldn't they when everyone else is charging more money? Now, the best thing you can do is, 1, to call your veterinary clinic and say, are you owned locally? Who owns this clinic? 2, if you can't figure that out, you can look up the clinic online and type in who owns this clinic. You also can check the LLC at your state level to see if they have had a transfer of ownership, or, and this is a secret way to do it, if they have a trademark for their business, you can go to the TEAS system at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and see if their intellectual property has changed hands. Because if that intellectual property or trademark has gotten a new owner, they've been acquired even if they're hiding it from you. And if that doesn't work, go talk to one of the women or the men at your clinic that you know and have known for a long time, because they're going to tell you, because they're probably unhappy about it. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and we work together to fight private equity and save small businesses in your community. If you're willing, don't forget to like, follow, comment, share, and repost, because we're trying to make a difference, and we are so glad you're here.